Welcome to Solar Life, and today I wanted to give you a short update on what we've been doing. It's November now and we're getting much shorter days with much lower sun than we did in the summer, so I did a seasonal adjustment to the solar panel array that's on the pole in our yard. This adjustment from the summer angle to the fall angle creates a substantial increase in power production on a sunny day. The power from the panels went from 2100 watts to 3100 watts while the time over the adjustment was made. Conversely, on a cloudy day, there's less light reaching the panels because of the angle, and so tipping the panels backwards to face the clouds can add a couple of extra amps to the chargers to help them keep the house charging during a cloudy or a rainy day. Another seasonal maintenance that has to be performed is topping up the batteries with distilled water to keep the electrolyte above the plates in the batteries. This is a slow process because you have to open up the top of all of the ports on each battery. You also have to be very careful not to spill any water on the terminals or to splash acid into your eyes while you're filling the batteries. In addition to this, I also did an equalization charge on the system to keep the battery bank in good working order. It does this by adding extra voltage to the batteries for a predetermined amount of time to essentially overcharge the system and boil the buildup off of the plates. Performing these equalizations helps to reduce the buildup on the plates and make the batteries last longer. Another thing that we did this summer was to design and install a hot water system using essentially used collectors and cheap solar tanks that I had picked up a few years ago. Essentially, these large 4x8 collectors behind me are insulated copper pipe collectors that heat up a glycol solution that's piped back into the house and into indirect heated tanks in order to make hot water. On a sunny day in the fall, we can heat up a tank of water enough to be safe for use in domestic hot water like showers and for doing dishes. This saves us from using the on-demand propane hot water heater, and while it's great and really efficient, it costs money and it uses fuels like propane, which are essentially fossil fuels. Since I commissioned the system in the summer, I've estimated that I've had about 1/3 of my hot water needs met by the solar system. And that's meant that for many days, we simply shut off the propane on-demand heater completely. A tank of hot water can last us for 2 or 2.5 days before it gets too cold to be useful. And we can also switch the valves to make it a preheat tank for our on-demand hot water heater. These old-style collectors are over 20 or 30 years old and they're still making heat. The newer vacuum-style collectors are even more efficient, but they also cost a lot more to buy and are rarely on the used market, and when they are, they don't last for very long. I'm happy that I installed it myself because I know how it works and I know how to fix problems that might occur. In doing this, I saved thousands of dollars in labor costs, and I only had to pay for the equipment and the supplies that I bought, which I got at cost from local plumbing supply stores. Overall, we haven't done all that much to the property. We have the same number of solar panels, but the addition of these solar hot water panels has really helped to bring a little bit more energy back into the house from solar gain, essentially. So in addition to these solar hot water collectors, I also have a radiator in the basement that emits heat and takes it from that pipe, so that in addition to getting hot water, we're also getting a little bit of extra heat into our basement. So I'm pretty excited to see how this system performs over the winter. It worked really great in the summer and it's working well into the fall. And I think it was worth the time and the effort and the investment to do this. So that's it for this episode of Solar Life. Thanks for joining us. It's been a really great time doing all this type of upgrades to the house, and I hope you enjoy this, and we'll see you next time.